It's no secret, rent is crazy expensive. But if you have to move out and you don't have a lot of money, how are you supposed to do it?
Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Philip.
And we teach you what you need to know about being a grown-up.
Because adulting shouldn't suck.
In this video, we're going to talk about different ways that you can rent an apartment with low income. Fortunately for us, we've both been able to afford rent as adults, but it hasn't always been easy. However, we both watched our single moms struggle to afford rent and pay the bills, and in some cases, they even had to use some of these programs and methods that we're going to talk about. Luckily, more programs have become available since we were kids, but it isn't easy to get qualified.
So before we get started, we wanted to let you know that we made a free apartment application template that will help you gather all of the information that you need to apply for an apartment. You need to have this information ready because incomplete applications get rejected automatically. The link's going to be in the description below.
Some of these options might apply to your situation. Check the timestamps in the description to see if we cover the information that you're looking for. All right, so let's talk about what qualifies as low income. And just as an FYI, this is going to be a little bit different depending on state to state or the city that you live in because the cost of living is going to be different everywhere.
But once that medium income is established for an area, people that earn less than 80% of that are considered low income. And the people that are making less than 50% of that are considered very low income.
So as an example, the median income for Portland, Oregon last year was $35,000 for an individual. In order to be considered low income in Portland, you'd have to make less than $28,000 a year or $17,500 for very low income.
Again, this amount is going to be different based on the city and state that you live in. This is also going to be different for individuals versus married couples or somebody that is single with kids.
All right, so let's talk about the first program, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. HUD offers all sorts of rental assistance programs provided by the government. This is something that my mom had to use back when I was a kid, and HUD can offer reduced rent rates. They can give you vouchers that you can give to your landlords that cover a portion of your rent, and then you have to pay the remaining amount, or they can even offer public housing.
Yeah. HUD housing determines your eligibility based off of 1, your annual income, 2, whether you qualify as an elderly person or a disabled person or as a family, and 3, whether or not you're a U.S. citizen or have eligible immigration status.
Additionally, HUD is going to look up your references, talk to your family, check your rental history, and they're going to ensure that you're a good tenant before they even approve you for HUD housing.
To apply for HUD housing, you're going to have to speak to someone at your local housing field office, known as a public housing agency. You can find their information for your city and state by simply doing a Google search.
Now, if you're trying to rent as an individual that doesn't have kids, you're not old, you don't have a disability, then unfortunately the HUD option isn't going to help you out. But that doesn't mean there aren't any other options available to you, just not as many.
So if you don't qualify for HUD, there are still other options available to you. The next option is going to be income-based housing or income-restricted housing. This is where they base your rent based off of how much money you make. And if you make too much money, you're not going to get approved to live there. This is great if you're just getting started out on your own, but it isn't always going to be available in a lot of places, so beware.
This housing is available to you as well if you do qualify for HUD, so just know that this is another option that you can check out.
The third option is renting from an individual instead of a property management company or an apartment complex. Sometimes people are going to be more willing to work with you because they can follow their own set of rules instead of having to follow the rules that are made by the company. They can also negotiate on the rent costs since they're the ones that set them. I've done this before in the past with previous tenants of my own.
The fourth option is renting a room from somebody who has a room that's available in their house or their apartment. Roommates aren't always ideal, especially with strangers, but it can be a great way for you to get a place of your own that still fits within your budget. And to find people that are renting a room, all you got to do is go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and there's tons of them. There's typically a good supply of rooms available at any particular time, so there's not usually a shortage of them like there is with apartments. And we actually have a video on this called How to Find a Room to Rent Online. Check it out if you want to know more about that option.
Lastly, try to find a job that offers housing. This could be working at an apartment complex as a maintenance man, a college campus as a security guard, or even a storage facility. A lot of the times, these places will offer you reduced rent rates, or they might even offer you rent for free as part of your job. Storage facilities often want an on-site worker at all times, and the only way for that to happen is to have an employee live there.
We understand that moving out is hard, and it's even harder to do when you don't have much money. If you have the time to research some of these options, we highly suggest it. I always like to say that a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Nope.
And what does that mean? It means that if you don't take the time to look up or ask questions, you're never going to find out what's available.
If you liked this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And in the comments below, let us know if you're going to use any of these options that we mentioned in this video.
And we'll see you in the next video.